Good morning. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, August 1st meeting of the State Transportation Commission. Got a good number of people in the audience and 5 out of 6 turnout of the commissioners. So welcome. Before we get started, I just want to, on behalf of the commission, recognize this guy to my right. Troy Hagan has been our right-hand person for quite some time now, and he is moving on to the private sector, leaving the State Transportation Commission and MDOT. But very seriously, thank you very much, Troy. You've been an absolute delight and a consummate professional to work with, and you will be missed, but we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the Commission. It's been an honor to work for 3 governors and several state legislators in the department, as well as the Commission over my 16 years here at MDOT and my 25 years plus career within the legislative arena in Michigan. And I could not have been as successful as I have been without each and every one of my MDOT colleagues. They've really been the engine that has been able to drive my Office of Governmental Affairs experience. It's been a great team working environment, and they're the ones who have made me and the department successful in front of the legislature and with the STC and the governor's office. So thank you to them, and I look forward to continuing to work with them in my new opportunity. So thank you, and I hope that the commission continues to do the good work that it has been doing with the next commission advisor. So.
Thanks again, Troy. We have a packed agenda today, lots to consider, presentations and so on. So I'm going to, right at the very start, ask everyone to be respectful of time. We've tried to put time limits on everyone for presentations, and we'd ask that you honor those requests, please. So we start with this NewLab presentation. So this is a beautiful facility and the beautiful building across the street. So we have a presentation regarding the NewLab. If we could have that first. Mark DeLaverne. Didn't have a name here.
Hey, good morning. I don't want to freak out the AV people. I don't have an actual presentation, so you don't have to worry that there's nothing loaded up. Just wanted to welcome everybody here to Michigan Central. Really happy to host the Transportation Commission as well as our friends here at MDOT. The building you're in today is NewLab at Michigan Central. This is where we're focusing our startup activity in this overall innovation district that we're building here at Michigan Central. Right now there's over 110 companies here in the building, all startups, since the building's been open for about 16 months, which is pretty impressive growth. A lot of the companies here focusing in mobility, a lot of the companies here focusing on climate, a number of the companies here working with the department on projects. We'd like to continue to increase the amount of activity from our companies here with MDOT. Ourselves at Michigan Central, we're responsible for developing this entire 30-acre innovation district, this building, the station itself, as well as a few other properties around here. Really value the partnership that we have with the director and the team at the DOT. Most recently, working together on, continue to work together on advanced aerial mobility, but a number of different things that affect us here locally, but also we feel like are going to advance state's leadership in moving people and goods around the state. So really appreciate having everyone here. Really appreciate having the commission here. Hope you all enjoy the meeting today, and look forward to talking further. So allow the meeting to continue.
Thank you, Mark, and our appreciation right back at you for being willing to host us. It's my first kind of wander through the campus, and it's gorgeous. I'm excited to see more of it and to to watch how this transforms this area. It was fun to drive across Michigan and Trumbull and think back to my childhood too, by the way, and seeing those tigers and sitting behind the beam that came right down in front of me. But it was a great ballpark. Loved it. So thank you to everyone here at NewLab and Michigan Central. Director, would you like to share a few thoughts?
Certainly. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, all. Just a few things that I want to talk about. First, to let you know that our fiscal year 25 budget has been enacted, about $6.8 billion, which is roughly $180 million more than last year's. This is largely a continuation budget. You know, really to keep up with inflation on our core operations. This budget does reflect the latest revenue projections from Treasury's Office of Revenue and Tax Analysis. It does include $193 million of one-time general funds, as well as $20 million from the American Rescue Plan, or ARP funds. And just to let you know, our fuel tax in the state of Michigan is now indexed to inflation. So as of the first of this year, well, I should say it's indexed to the rate of inflation or 5%, whichever's higher. So we did get an increase this year. It's up to 30 cents a gallon. That's just shy of 5% of what it was last year. We did get an increase in our maintenance programs as well, about $20 million. That was largely, again, to keep up with inflationary increases in materials, maintenance, and services. So the one-time appropriations total is about $213 million. Some of the big things, the ARP funds that I just mentioned, $20 million, is going to one-time local bus operating, so that'll go to eligible transit entities. There's a large share, the two largest shares are critical infrastructure projects. So these are critical infrastructure projects as determined by the legislature around the state, primarily local projects that'll be built. Another $76 million of general fund is to the department just for our ability to match our federal aid. Almost all of our federal aid comes with match requirements.
Sounds about right.
Roughly, we put in 20% to the federal highways, 80%. There's some other smaller pots of money, local grade crossings, surface improvements, a couple of million, local material research program for $1 million, $5 million for Michigan contracting opportunities. And this is really going to enhance the development of the availability of our contractors to do our work. As our program goes, we certainly need more folks to work, really focusing on socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. Almost $24 million for new technologies. As Mark mentioned, air mobility is part of that. The Michigan Mobility Funding Platform will be funded out of this. We're going to do some more of the inductive charging pilot, which right out here on 14th Street is the very first stretch of road in the United States that has inductive charging on it. And maybe we can get an opportunity to talk more about that later. We are also going to be performing a school zone automated speed enforcement pilot as well. That was put in MDOT's bill, obviously a safety concern for us, and we look forward to working with state police and other law enforcement agencies on that. A couple of things I wanted to mention that were put in the boilerplate of our bill. The first one is a requirement for us to assess the practices and policies regarding interaction with homeless populations. So this is an issue for us many times, either an operational and safety issue or part of a project where we have to address homeless needs. We will be working with the State Housing Development Authority, the Michigan Homeless Policy Council, and others on how we most appropriately do that. So we're looking forward to more work on that, something that the department has already started, but we wanted to codify it and make it very clear on what our intention was. In addition, another section does require us that by September 30th of 2025 that we have a newly aligned complete streets policy. So that is something that we are already working on as well. But again, our legislature and others believe that that is very important, as do we. and we'll have that done over the next year and of course adopted by the commission. Just a couple of notes. Bonds are not appropriated in the budget. You know, we're still working through Rebuilding Michigan. Out of the $3.5 billion, we've gone out for about $2.8 billion of that. So do the math, about $700 million left. We are working with Treasury and obviously our own staff to figure out what the right timing for that will be. Bonds are not appropriated, but the debt service is. And really just the last statement on the budget, we're very appreciative of the work done by folks in the department, the state budget office, the committee chairs, and other lawmakers to really give us this comprehensive spending plan. But we all know that we want to keep our eye on the bigger prize. And all transportation agencies, the department, our local agencies, our transit agencies, we're all looking for what that real need for long-term sustainable funding is. The more clarity we have on that, the better we can be at planning and implementing those works. So that's it on the budget. Just a couple of quick project things I wanted to mention as long as we're here in Detroit. Great big project that we have going on is on I-375, just on the east side of downtown Detroit. This is currently a below grade depressed freeway that we're working with many people on how we bring that back to an at-grade boulevard. Purpose of this project is to really replace outdated and deteriorating roadways and bridges through the corridors, but we've also seen this as an opportunity to see how can we improve safety, how can we improve connectivity, and really spur economic development and placemaking opportunities along that route. So, we started this project many years ago, but in 2014 we started what's called a Planning and Environmental Linkage Process, PEL. It's an engagement process that we try to work out ahead of time with all kinds of stakeholders, not just the government agencies, but also neighborhoods, businesses, and anybody else to figure out what we want here. So this has been going on for a while. And then we move that into our NEPA environmental assessment process. So since 2022, we've had 3 public meetings, probably 9 or more local advisory committee meetings, a few governmental advisory committees, 6 meetings with industries and disadvantaged business enterprises on how they can be part of this project as well, and more than 30 other one-on-one meetings that we've had with different agencies and entities. I will acknowledge that there are still many questions to answer on this project, and I tell everybody in my nearly 30 years of working at MDOT and being a former project manager, this is by far the most complex job I've ever seen. Not only is the engineering and construction going to be complex, the social aspects of this project are more complex. Like many other freeways that were built in the past, in the 50s and 60s especially, this went through some very thriving African American communities, Black Bottom, Paradise Valley, and part of this project will be looking at how we can address the historical environmental justice issues. I will never go so far as to say that MDOT can fix anything or any agency can really fix anything, but we know we want to work with the communities on what can we do to acknowledge what happened. We are using on this a progressive design build contracting mechanism. Typically in an MDOT job, we throw the plans together. We'll do stakeholder engagement, but we throw the plans together, we put it out there, a contractor, low bidder, goes out and builds it. This is going to be progressive design build, where we have kind of the shell of what we want through that planning environmental linkage process and through our NEPA process to say, okay, this is generally what we need. Now we're going to bring an entity on, and it's a big team. They are going to do the design, they are going to build it, but they also have some pretty robust requirements to do stakeholder engagement, to help us make sure that we're getting the right input, to do workforce development, to make sure that we're providing opportunities, in my opinion, especially for local folks in Detroit, and obviously for maintenance of traffic. That's going to be a big deal for the businesses and the people that work and live in that area. So it is an iterative process. I think it's going to help us answer a lot of the questions that people have. They have a lot of questions right now, things that we aren't really at a point yet where we can answer them. We're very close to getting this entity on board that's going to help kind of color in some of the details. We're also working closely with the city of Detroit on a land use framework plan that's going to help inform ultimately with the nearly 30 acres of freed up property what that land will be. So this thing got about $100 some million in federal grant, the infra grant, which is great from the bipartisan infrastructure law. It's a big project. Depending on the day, it's roughly around a $400 million project. And we're very much looking forward. Construction won't start on this thing probably until later in 2025, largely in 26 through 28. The land disposition would happen after that. So we know we have a lot of engagement to do. And finally, as quickly as I can here, I'm sorry, Chair, but right out here on US 12, Michigan Avenue, we're working on the project essentially from I-96. The project goes all the way into downtown, into Campus Martius. There is a City of Detroit portion and an MDOT portion, but we're working to rebuild that and really kind of reimagine what this corridor can be. Again, we started Appel with this many years ago. We want it to really be kind of an innovative corridor where we can try different things, work with Michigan Central, work with the City of Detroit on what could be. It is primarily a reconstruct, but also has a lot of placemaking opportunities and non-motorized opportunities. We are working through the process right now. There are, again, many things, many questions that business owners and locals in Corktown have of us that we're working very hard to address. We'll probably have a public meeting sometime in mid-September to really re-engage and ensure that what we're building is in fact what our stakeholders are looking for. So with that, that is my report today.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions from the Commission? Okay, and I understand you'll have to step out at some point.
Yes, thank you for that reminder. About 11:30, I have a cabinet meeting, and I should probably be in that, so I plan to step out at that time.
It's probably a priority, yes. Thank you, Director. Now, if we could go into the Commission business. We have the minutes from April 18th. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review them. I'd entertain a motion from the Commission. Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion about the minutes? Okay, they will stand approved as presented unless I hear objections. All right, if you'll recall at the last meeting, which was I think my first meeting as chair, indicated there that we wanted to spend some time in the next number of months working on a review of the State Transportation Commission policies as adopted historically. We did find that that there were a number that were pre-1994 that were no longer, by action of the Commission back then, were no longer applicable. But there are 26 State Transportation Commission policies that remain in effect, and so we wanted to do like I say, over the coming months, a comprehensive review. We've started that review to a small degree, trying to just kind of get our feet on the ground here. There's a subcommittee of the Commission here, which is myself and Commissioners Salisbury and Welborn, and then staff at staff level. It's Troy and Jack and Laura Mester, and others as kind of are pulled in regards to the subject matter, if you will, of the policy in question. We looked at we looked for kind of low-hanging fruit this first pass and try to find a few that just basically are obsolete, outmoded, covered by other state law, other legislation that's passed subsequent to the adoption of them, and try to look at those and say, do they need to be rescinded, tweaked, whatever. And we are prepared today to look at 3 of those and to take action if there is a comfort level in the commission. This is kind of a trial balloon, and we will try to get a little more formal, process going forward to address the final 20-some as the months come on. But Jack, if you could just kind of tee up those 3 and maybe call whoever is most appropriate within MDOT to talk about the crux of the policy.
My pleasure. Thank you. The 3 policies that we're talking about today are policy.
Can everyone hear? Yeah.
All right.
You probably have to move that a
Does
little.
this make it better? Okay. There are the 3 policies pertain to the rejection of all bids, legislative outreach, and utility accommodation, and respectively putting forth the idea that the rejection of all bids be rescinded, that the legislative outreach has some minor revisions, and the utility accommodation also has some minor revisions. I think I can speak to the rejection of all bids policy before I start calling on other folks. In that policy, it lays out that the director in the department has the ability to reject all bids, but in the policy, it also said that that the commission, as they're approving contracts, and as we established a few years ago, the commission is not in the business of approving contracts, and so that's the whole point of the policy, and so we feel like there's not a need for the policy. So with that in mind, do we want to handle just this one at a time, or shall I do all 3?
Yes, one at a time, I think.
Okay.
'Cause
So-
what I'll want to do is ask the commission to vote on them one at a time.
Wonderful.
So the rejection of all bids policy, so the recommendation is that we rescind that policy.
Yes, sir.
The commissioners have received these policies ahead of time, by the way, in order to have a chance to review them. And so I would open the floor for any questions or discussion. Suzanne?
I was just going to make a motion to rescind the policy for the rejection of bids.
We have a motion to rescind that particular policy. Is there support?
I support.
Support for that? Is there any further discussion? If not, maybe you should take a roll call. Roy?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
Vice Chair Salisbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Welborn,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz.
Yes.
So the motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Jack, if you would tee up the next one.
The next policy pertains to legislative outreach. We have some, what we think to be relatively minor revisions, but I'm hoping that Troy can help us out in explaining the changes that are occurring.
It's really just minor revisions that better align the policy with the operations of MDOT's Office of Governmental Affairs in conjunction with the guidance that we receive from the governor's office, and how we formulate our strategy with the governor's office and internally with the department and the commission on a yearly and bi-yearly basis when the legislature changes over.
Are there any comments, questions regarding this particular policy, which we are basically amending? Okay, if I see none, is there a motion to adopt those changes?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
A second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any additional discussion? If not, if you would call the roll.
Chair Hayes,
Yes?
Vice Chair Salisbury,
Yes.
Commissioners Welborn,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz.
Yes.
So it's unanimous, and those particular changes are now passed. Jack, the third one?
The third one pertains to some changes to the utility accommodation policy. It was relatively minor changes, and I have the applicable Bureau Director, Dee Parker, here available to answer any questions that might pertain to that policy. As I said, right now it's just a function of a few words were added to clarify a few things, but if there's any questions in the next step here, Dee is available to answer.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of Jack or Dee Parker? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to adopt those minor changes to that particular policy.
So moved.
Commissioner Welborn?
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Troy, would you call the roll?
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
Vice Chair Salisbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Welborn,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz.
Yes.
And again, unanimous vote to make those changes. So those were the three easy ones. It will get a little bit more complex probably as time goes on. It'll take a little more effort on the part of the subcommittee and the staff to spend some time on the other policies, but we thought we'd just kind of get the ball rolling here, and appreciate everyone's effort on that. Anything further, Jack?
No, except to say that my little line item of the agenda, I think this pertains a great deal to what's been going on at OCA, so if we don't mind skipping over that, if that works for you in the interest of time, that would work for me too, so.
Duly skipped. Thank you, Jack, for your help on this. All right, the next item is the approval of a 2023 amendment to MDOT's freight plan. Kyle Haller and Alicia.
And Mr. Chair, while Kyle and Alicia are coming up, I'll just make the note for the agenda that there is no motion required. There is no approval. This is just an update to the commission.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kyle Haller, and Alicia Wolf is with me as well. We're here to provide an update on our state freight plan. Just as a reminder, Michigan Mobility was adopted in November 2021, and it's a family of 5 plans, and the freight plan is a key component of that. And kick it off to Alicia.
Thank you, Kyle. Good morning, and thank you for having us. We're happy to be here today to talk to you about our update of the state freight plan. So as Kyle mentioned, the state freight plan is one of the 5 federally required plans that MDOT has to complete, and it was fully integrated into the Michigan Mobility 2045 Long-Range Transportation Plan, and we were one of the few states that were able to fully integrate that plan into the long-range plan, and it was a really innovative model that we chose to move forward with. And then as we were approving the MM 2045 plan, the IIJA, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, was passed, and that of course created new requirements for state freight plans. So we were in the position to need to update those freight plan elements in order to keep these plans on the same timeline for updates and in sync with one another. So that is the material we'd like to share with you today. The new state freight plan requirements included truck parking, facilities assessment, considerations of military freight, and strategies and goals to decrease environmental impacts. And this is just an informational update today. There's no approval needed. We will be looking for that approval down the line, and Kyle will talk a little bit about that later. All of this information can be found in the freight plan update document that is included in your materials if you're looking for more information. So considerations of military freight, we of course have a pretty large Army National Guard presence here in Michigan. The National Army Guard is located in 32 of our 83 counties, and freight system is obviously really important to support those movements of military goods and people. For this portion of the update, we mainly highlighted the strategic highway and rail networks in the state, and those are designated by the Department of Defense as being essential to the national defense. And these corridors must also meet defense requirements regarding maintenance, condition, clearance, and gross weight. The next new requirement was commercial motor vehicle parking facilities assessment. And this was a new requirement for states to conduct these assessments. And to do that, we created a database of all of the public and private truck parking facilities in the state. So in Michigan, we have over 1,500 public spots and over 6,600 private spaces. And then we went ahead and geocoded that list to provide a GIS analysis of the parking locations in relation to volume of truck traffic. So that's what you can see depicted on this map. And what this did is it allowed us to view where gaps may exist in the state for truck parking. And as you can see, this ended up being areas like Oakland County, regions north and west of Detroit, Grand Rapids and Flint, and Kalamazoo urban areas. So nothing surprising, as those are areas with higher truck traffic, but those are areas that we can look moving forward to making sure the appropriate accommodations are in place for truck parking. So the department is mainly prioritizing the maintenance of current rest areas at this time that include truck parking, and also as the department has available funds to invest in older facilities, newer design considerations are being made to better accommodate those truck movements. In this section, we also highlighted the TPIM system, the Truck Parking Information Management System, which MDOT has in place on I-94, I-75, I-275, and US 23. So the TPIM system delivers real-time truck parking availability information to truck drivers so they can see on those dynamic messaging signs how many spots are still available in upcoming truck parking facilities. And it's been an enormous benefit to our truck drivers in the state, especially those with limited service hours remaining and they really need to find a place to stop and rest. And the last new requirement was strategies and goals to decrease environmental impacts of movement of freight. This last new requirement called for DOTs to discuss strategies and goals to decrease these impacts through 4 different areas. The first was impacts of extreme weather and natural disasters on freight mobility. So for this section, we mainly referenced MDOT's Resilience Improvement Plan, as well as other tools we have in place for extreme weather events affecting freight movements, like MyDrive, that shows those live road conditions and other dynamic messaging signs. The second was impacts of freight movement on local air pollution. So here we mainly discuss MDOT's carbon reduction strategy. The third was impacts of freight movement on flooding and stormwater runoff. As we know, we do experience flooding here in Michigan and have had many pump station improvements, and also Great Lakes water levels comes into play, and those impacts were discussed in this section. The last was freight movement and wildlife habitat loss mitigation. Here we mainly highlighted and discussed the key elements of MDOT's habitat management plan. You can see in this picture here, this is actually a truck passing by one of MDOT's pollinator planting areas, so it's not often you get a picture of a commercial truck and flowers, but we did here, so we were happy to include that in the plan. And with that, I will hand it back off to Kyle to talk about next steps.
Thank you. So typically we update or reaffirm our long-range plan every 5 years. And as I said before, it was adopted by the commission in November 2021. Our goal is to have more of an in-house reaffirmation for the next long-range plan with maybe updates to goals, strategies, that sort of thing. Our timeline is looking like late 2025, early 2026 for the draft plan, where we'll come to you. And then final adoption will be spring 26 following that. And the freight plan will be part of that, as well as active transportation and transit. So thank you. Thanks for last slide.
Thank you, Kyle and Alicia. Other questions? I found it interesting, the military and the freight. You don't think about those things. They're kind of like out of sight, out of mind to all of us that use the roadways, but obviously critical in so many ways. And so it's kind of fascinating to see that, what's being considered and talked about. So I appreciate it. Any questions? Yes, Suzanne?
Thank you for the presentation. And it may be in other places in the 2045 plan that I wasn't aware of, but on the stormwater topic, the items that are covered in here are really gray infrastructure solutions, bigger lift stations, bigger pipes. Didn't see anything about green infrastructure solutions, or even when we think about design standards, just a reduction of 1 foot in some of these cross sections can be acres of land when we think about the length of the road. And so kind of that stormwater management piece and thinking about both the standards that we have for whether it's lane widths or other things, and the use of green infrastructure, just both water quality and quantity, but the quality piece especially, because a lot of MDOT infrastructure is the older infrastructure that just wasn't treating for quality and just tried to get the water off the road as fast as possible. So it's a lot, sorry, it's a long question, but I didn't see a lot in there, so.
Yeah, no, that's a great question and a great consideration. That wasn't necessarily part of this freight plan amendment specifically. We did talk a bit about more of those green solutions and land use decision-making in the MM 2045 plan, and I think that's a great opportunity to build upon in the 2050 plan as well. So thank you for that comment.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Okay. We'll look forward to seeing you back here in a year or two.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the 2025 through 29 draft 5-year plan. Michael Case, please. This will require a motion.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Case, MDOT's 5-year transportation program specialist. I'm sure you've all read through the program document included in your packets, as you typically do each year. So I'm just going to touch on the key highlights that we're focusing on in this year's document. Primarily investments in trunkline highway, roads and bridges, as well as public transportation and aeronautics over the next 5 years, starting with fiscal year 25. Also included in the document, fulfilling an annual state statutory requirement, is a project list by county of trunkline highway and bridge projects planned for construction over the next 5 years. We are required to provide that to the legislature each year by March 1st. So that will be the case when we bring this document back to you for final approval in November. We'll be asking for your approval to submit it to them then. So investment-wise, over the next 5 years, again, starting with fiscal year 25, MDOT is looking at a total $15.3 billion investment split between the trunkline highway program at $10.6 billion, public transportation at $3.6 billion, and the aeronautics program at $1 billion. And I'm going to cover some of the details of this, but again, I'm sure you've read the document, so just the high-level stuff. So, $10.6 billion highway program here. We've got about $6.6 billion total between roads and bridges over the next 5 years. That actually includes $315 million for the trunk line modernization, I-94 project, as well as an $860 million representative investment in the Blue Water Bridge Plaza. So those dollars were actually obligated in previous years, so what we're showing with that figure is the value of the construction over the next 5 years for the project. For routine maintenance, we're planning on $2.6 billion. That covers activities such as pothole filling, snow plowing, sweeping, and grass cutting. $864 million in system safety, management, and operations. That's safety things such as signage, as well as operational traffic signals and other types of improvements. There's roadside facilities as well. That's rest areas and other things that we see along trunk line highways and bridges. And additional state and federally funded programs at $513.2 million. Sorry, that would be a huge investment in other programs. So that's transportation alternatives, recreational trails, and carpool parking lots. Here we see the investment by year. So the red lines are the preservation portion of the investment. That total out of the $10.6 billion is about $8 billion. So we've got bond funds in there as well. In this period, we're looking at $270 million, and I'll cover which projects that's a part of as well. So for the public transportation program, again, this is over the next 5 years. We're looking at just under $4.7 billion, with $3.6 billion in public transportation. That covers local and intercity bus, passenger rail, rail freight, and ports, and $1 billion in the aeronautics program. So we're going to shift over to what's coming up in fiscal year 25. $3.8 billion total. 2.8 of that is the highway program, $753 million in public transportation, and $240 million in aeronautics. For the fiscal year 25 highway program, again, that's $2.8 billion. This is an investment consistent with previous years. And we've got, as I had mentioned earlier in the $10.6 billion bar chart, we've got 3 bond-funded projects that are in this year. So there's I-94 from Wayne Road to Middle Belt, I-475 from Thread Creek to Flint River, and the I-475 North Bristol Road to Thread Creek project. So those are all $100 million and greater projects, and not all of the funds that are on those projects are bond funds. Some of the funds are federal as well.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I apologize. The last couple of slides that you went through, the numbers aren't matching what we have in our information compared to what you have on the slides.
Yes, there were some small updates.
Okay.
As of the day before yesterday.
Okay.
So apologies if you've went through the document and you're seeing something different now. So this is the most recent information that we'll be asking for your approval to post publicly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. I should have clarified that as well.
Would you make sure that we are supplied then with a clean one that's reflective of that
Mr. Chair,
after the
absolutely.
meeting? Thank you.
All right, so I'm just going to cover the bridge work here too. Like I said, the rest of this is pretty consistent with previous years, including routine maintenance. So we've got a couple of big bridge projects that are moving forward in fiscal year 25. There are several bridges along I-69 from Elms Road to I-75 that are included in this number. The Martin Luther King Jr. Street over US 131 in the Grand Region, and several bridges along I-75 in Detroit, including over Rouge River and Dearborn Street. As you see at the bottom here too, this includes that representative investment in the Blue Water Bridge Plaza. $53 million of that is in fiscal year 25. So for bus and marine, we're looking at just under $590 million in fiscal year 25. The majority of these funds are on preserving local bus operating for transit agencies to maintain current service. We see that at $226.7 million. and transit capital on the right at $221.6 million. That's focused on preserving the state subsidized intercity bus service and terminal development. For the rail and port programs, we've got $163 million. A lot of this, we've got Amtrak operating support and equipment for the 3 Michigan routes that we have, maintenance and capital investments in the Kalamazoo-Dearborn corridor. There's capital projects included here as well, including a track curve modification and some signal work, freight rail improvements. That includes replacement of the Manistee River Bridge, supported by a $20.4 million federal grant, and port development as well for the Detroit County Wayne Port Authority, providing operating assistance for administrative and marketing expenditures. The aeronautics program is at $240 million for fiscal year 25. This includes funds to preserve critical infrastructure, particularly pavements, navigational aids, and protecting airspace. Also supporting statewide efforts to attract and retain air service. That has a huge impact on our economic development in the state. And support for aviation and advanced air mobility infrastructure, uncrewed aircraft systems, and other innovative projects that relate to aeronautics. So last but not least, as a part of this document each year, we include some additional information on performance measures, as well as some departmental initiatives that we're moving forward. For the past few years, our focus areas have been equity and inclusion, transportation resiliency, and complete streets mobility. So we are continuing with those focus areas, albeit at a bit of a higher level, given that the department is currently going through the implementation of its strategic plan. So we're seeing some shifts in the way that we develop and implement the capital program. So that's covered under process updates and enhancements for this year. Primarily, we're planning on expanding the horizon of the capital program from 5 years to somewhere around 8 to 10 years, just to get a better idea of what's coming down the pipeline and to be able to prepare for it better with state and federal funds as they become available. We're also looking at some additional performance metrics, and I'm sure you'll get some information about those in the very in the very near future, to try to make sure that investments are much better directed toward exactly where they're needed. And not that they're not now, but we would like to be able to annually measure how well we're doing with placing investments, and as well as planning for investments in the future. We've also got a small section on highway program challenges this year as well. We've been talking a lot over the past few years about how our needs exceed the funding that we have available. So there's some additional information about the impacts of inflation and how that's escalated project costs over the past few years. And with that, our action today is that we're requesting your approval to post the most recent draft of the 25 to 29 5-year program and open the 30-day public comment period. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Michael. Are there questions? My recollection in the past is that we've mentioned maybe a dedicated half paragraph or something to the Gordie Howe International Bridge, and I've not seen really a mention in this plan. I realize that the Canadian government is financing, they're not paying for the bridge, they're financing it, and they'll be reimbursed over its lifetime with tolls, and I realize there's not state dollars going into that, but it is an integral part of what's going on in the state transportation plan or the state transportation future. Should we have some kind of mention in here of that?
For the past couple of years, we have provided information and updates on the progress of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. This year, again, we shifted a little bit towards some of the high-level policy things that we're doing, preparing for the transition to an expanded program. However, given that you've brought it up, I think that we could definitely include some space for that in the next iteration of the program that we bring to you.
Consider that my public input.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chair.
I have a little bit of an interest in that project for some reason. Other comments, questions, concerns?
This is probably, I appreciate the Complete Streets policy update included in here, and I think as we start to review those policies, CSS was mentioned in here, and this is kind of more of a general discussion, but how these things relate or don't is, I think, really important from a local level, when local communities are considering this, and especially what comes to mind are the bridge investments that are proposed in here. Frequently, the MDOT standard's 5 foot for pedestrian paths on bridges, and you might have a 6-lane road. And that proportion and that experience is completely awful for a pedestrian versus motor vehicles. And so I think how these things influence these future investments will be important, and I understand that probably doesn't belong in here right now, but I'd like, in the future, I think as we think about what the metrics are, and how those align with the policies and how it aligns with the investments, that'll be important.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Commissioner?
So you said that the latest iteration had slight differences in the numbers that we're talking about. Will we get a copy of that prior to it being put out there for public review?
Yes, we're planning on opening the public comment period tomorrow. So it will be posted online today, but I can be sure to work through Troy to get you the copies. And the changes are relatively minor as well. I think the total went up by 0.1 billion from 10.5 to 10.6 billion dollars total, all in the highway program. But yes, I will get you the document.
Anything else for Michael? Okay, I would entertain a motion to, let's see, how do you want it to read? That we approve putting the 5-year state transportation plan out for a 30-day public comment period, correct?
Yes, and typically we ask for your approval to post it online, which includes the distribution of our media release out to the public as well to inform them that public comment is now open.
Okay, all of that in the motion. Would somebody please make that motion? Thank you. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Support.
Support. Any further discussion? If not, do you want to call the roll on that?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Vice Chair Salisbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Welborn, Commissioner Turner, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
and Commissioner Schultz.
Yes.
Thank you all. Unanimously passed. So go see what the public thinks.
Thank you, and pleasure to see you as always.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, the next item is real estate services, section disposal of real property interests at Dee Parker. There's not a motion required here, I don't believe, but it's informative. So, Dee?
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. Again, on pages 54, 55, titled Commission Summary, Real Estate Service Section Disposal of Real Property Interests. Before you today is a spreadsheet that's a summary that provides information related to the property itself, such as location, who purchased the property, appraised value of that property, and as well as, more importantly, the purchaser relationship to a state of Michigan or department employee as well. That information, again, is all in the summary there in the spreadsheet. And so at this point, again, if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain those as related to those, to the properties that we are releasing.
Pretty open, transparent process here, and always with the proviso that that the sale price reflect the appraised value, and I saw nothing inconsistent there, but are there any questions or comments for Dee? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Patrick's going to entertain us with all sorts of numbers and bars and charts and graphs, and I still like it though. I think it's a great report that we get with
Good
now that we
morning,
have
thank
graphs
you.
and bar charts and things that help me interpret all the numbers. Thank you.
I appreciate that you consider it entertaining, so that's fantastic. So-
Well, I'm a little bit sick.
So the first document that we have in front of you is the quarterly bid letting summary, which documents all the items that MDOT let for the third quarter of fiscal year '24, which was April through June. The second document, titled the bid letting trends for fiscal year '22 through '24, third quarter, documents various trends in the bid letting process, including the number of projects let, the number of single bidders, and the number of all bids rejected, as well as payments made to contractors for that same time frame of '22 through '24 for the third quarter of April through June. The third document, titled MDOT Procurement Card Fiscal Year 2024, are the third quarter documents of the number of procurement card transactions and the total amount paid against procurement cards for the third quarter of 2024, as well as identified procurement card transactions that are currently being monitored. Do you have any questions for these documents?
Any questions of Patrick? No? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dee, you're back up. Guess I could have shaved you some steps and had you go first, but
Yes, sir,
you need the exercise. It's good for you.
yes, good morning again, Commissioners. Again, I'm here today to share with you the quarterly bid justification summary for the third quarter of fiscal year '24, which includes, of course, April, May, and June. Pages 95 through 104 shows graphical data regarding our bids. As you can see on page 95 as an example, kind of shows the injuries estimate as well as the low bid and the percent over and under since October to June. In this case, we're about $1 million injuries estimate. Also, a little bit is comparable as well, which percent over is less than 1%. Then also on pages 105 through 108 is a summary of the justification rejections for the third quarter, kind of highlighting all the projects there again where we had to justify and or reject the bids on that project. And then also pages 109 through 139 are copies of the actual justification memos that were prepared within our department. Of course, I sign sharing that information as far as the reason why that project may have been over and or a reason why we are rejecting the bids on that project. And so again, pages 95 through 139 shares the information regarding our third quarter bid information for our projects.
A lot of information in there. Are there any questions or comments?
I had one, Dee. There are some projects here, and I want to compliment the department on their attentiveness to these projects. In the last year, we've seen a lot of attention to that, and it's been noticed by our board here. I just question some of these. I know there's been some rejections on some of these bigger projects, and some of these are the numbers, let's say on, what page is this one? 97. There was some, there where they get up into they're way outside of your 10% range here. Now, on those projects, was it limited bidders? Is that why you guys accepted those? Or I guess what was the guidelines to those projects that were up in the higher percentages?
I would probably have to look at that specific project. Typically, some of those projects is one bidder. Again, I'm not for sure if that was a payment marking bid or not, project or what have you. And so I can definitely look into that. Unfortunately, I left my laptop back at the
That's
table,
okay.
so I can't go exactly
That's
what
okay.
that project is regarding that. Yeah.
Well,
that
just a
specific
question, because a
project,
lot
so,
of them are
yeah.
falling in that range that you guys have provided, which we commend that, but just a couple of them that are outside of that, just wanted to know some clarification on those.
Yeah, and sometimes with some of our projects, although it may be greater than 10%, there's a reason why we are moving forward with that project. Could be we have commitments with the local agencies. Could also mean that there's a project that may be occurring in, for example, in 2026 that we need to do now. in preparation for that project in 2026 as well. So there are several reasons for us to move forward with a project that may be greater than 10%.
And I noticed on the prior slides, way back into the material, there was, the materials are obviously keep going up and up and up on those slides, so that was probably a factor, but thank you for that, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? A lot of data in there. Okay. Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Jason?
Good morning, Commission. Great to be here. I'm going to provide the summary for Exhibit B for projects.
Jason, why don't you kind of lift that up a little? You're a little taller there.
All right.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that. Talking about projects that were finalized in April, May, and June of this year. For MDOT, there were 69 projects totaling approximately 170 million being finalized. 5 projects were more than 10% over their original contract amount, and 41 projects came in under the original contract value. So for those 3 months, MDOT has 2.5 over, 0.85 over, and minus 3.37 under when compared to the original contract values for those projects during those months. And for the calendar year, we're averaging just under 1% over our original contract amount, 0.9. Local agency projects for that same period of time, 134 projects totaling approximately 140 million were finalized. 12 projects were more than 10% over the original contract amount, and 69 projects came in under their contract value. In the exhibit this month, we have 6 MDOT projects and 14 local agency projects being presented. And I can entertain or follow up on any questions the Commission has.
Thank you, Jason. I have a question on, so page 144, the summary charts. There were 2 numbers that jumped off the page at me. One was just happened to be this month was a 2.5% difference, which seemed quite high. And I realize really you can't look month to month. You got to look at the bigger picture. But is there something that drove that? And then, but the one I'm probably more concerned about is, and you said it in your comments, Jason, that it was under 1%. But if you look at the 0.93%, and you look at the previous 6 years, 5 years, excuse me, that is the highest since 2018. And I realize that those are small amounts, and I think the department takes great pride in these being small differences, but it seems to have taken a bit of a jump there. Could you help us understand that?
Yeah, in my opinion, and I haven't done a deep analysis on, there's 2 things that are causing the slow creep. One of them is the amount of repair projects, either being bridge decks or roadway surfaces. You'll notice as commissioners, any commissioner that's been on for a while, a lot of those projects come in over because once they go out and start marking out repairs, they're finding out things are a lot more deteriorated than they had thought and estimated and measured during the planning phase, the design phase. So those projects inherently go a little over, and our designers do the best they can to even provide a little liberties in there when they're providing the project to bids. But once the construction starts, we find out we have a bit more deterioration on bridge decks. We've had some bridge decks that instead of doing an overlay, we've had to do a replacement on. Now that's not extreme, but all of those little things add up to kind of helping the number elevate. Another thing that has come into play more that we find very valuable as a tool is fixed price variable scope. So we start with a bid value from the contractor, and depending on where that value is, we add more priority work. So those projects, which I think you've seen, they have what I would define as substantial increases from the original bid value, because we'll add an entire priority. So that project might come to the commission and being noted as 150% over the contract value, because everything that's reported to the commission is based on the original bid value provided by the contractor. So any additions to that, regardless of the process, are still flagged in our system as being 10% over. And those values come into play in this chart. So those are two substantial things that I think are helping to creep this up, because as you mentioned, it is a trend that we don't want to see, but until we can determine a more ideal way of dealing with fixed price variable scope, and we have a little bit more funding for fixing roads, I think we're going to see a trend in those two values going the way they go.
It doesn't make me feel very good.
I'm sorry.
Are there? And I understand the explanation. It makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what to do with my thought, other than it's concerning. I just don't like to see that upward creep. I think a little bit of what you said there at the end kind of addresses a bit of what Vice Chairman Salisbury asked earlier about why there's some of those outliers.
Okay. The fix, I don't want to, I would feel remiss if I left and didn't say the fixed price variable scope is very intentful. So I don't want folks to think that that is an accident or there's an error or an issue like that. That is very intentful. So that is we will see that until the commission and the department decide we want to flag those differently and maybe not show those in this performance chart. You know, that's something to discuss, but those will always be that way. And I think we've even had some locals trying fixed price variable scope, because we've got this magic number. How much work can the contractor do for this magic number versus bidding and then getting under and having, programmed amounts over? And I'm probably having too much therapy up here. So yes, it is intentful for fixed price variable scope. So I don't want you to think that that's an accident or an issue.
No, I appreciate the concept and I like it. I don't think we should mess with, if we're comparing apples to apples and such, we should stick with that. But it should be noted maybe that that's what drives a bit of what we see here.
Sure.
So, thank you. Other questions or comments for Jason? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move into the presentation portion of our agenda. We annually receive a report from the Transportation Asset Management Council, and Joanna Johnson is here to do that again this year. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you very much. Let me see if I can bring the PowerPoint up. There we go. Is up on the screen? Perfect. Okay, well, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see me, but we're going to give it a try. So thank you again. It's always a wonderful opportunity on behalf of the Transportation Asset Management Council, or TAMC, for me to present our annual report. Today, just presenting the 2023 Roads and Bridges Annual Report. This showcases the stakeholders that are all represented throughout the state that are members of the Transportation Asset Management Council. We do appreciate your reappointment of both William McEntee as well as James Hurt. There are 617 transportation agencies throughout the state. And again, the Transportation Asset Management Council, or I'll say TAMC, do have representation throughout the state of Michigan. Let's see. Just to talk a little bit about our mission, primarily what I'm going to focus on is in 2018, the state legislature took a direction of really focusing on integrated asset management. So in this case, we actually have the Michigan Infrastructure Council and the Water Asset Management Council, where together we form a three-legged stool as it relates to asset management across the state, really promoting the benefits of looking at all of our assets, their condition, and long-term sustainable improvements. Our annual budget has remained the same for many, many years. I am glad to say that we do have an increase in this year's state budget by about $423,000. So that would bring our total Transportation Asset Management Council budget to $2.3 million. What's not shown on the screen is the Michigan Department of Transportation does provide administrative team support to the TAMC, and we do appreciate that effort in assisting the TAMC do our work moving forward across the state. The majority of our funding does go towards supporting our regional programs and data collection, but again, we're always working towards areas of improvement and or ways that we can collect that data more efficiently throughout the state. This really highlights some of the key aspects of our 2023 annual report. I'm just going to focus on two of them. One of the things that we did as a council is to really look back and say, hey, how has our forecasting been? We have forecasting throughout our annual report. Are we on target? Are we off? As noted in that second bullet point, I should say, towards the end, forecasting from the past years does show that we're doing a good job of looking at the actual data and that it is in range of our forecasting throughout the state. And then I heard bridges just mentioned earlier as well, but bridge conditions across the state do continue to decline. We had 67 bridges closed in 2023 and due to their poor condition. And there's a later slide that will talk about bridges a little bit more. Our paved federal aid road condition, we were able to maintain some of the gains in 2022, but this is a statewide lens of what the current condition is of our network on the paved federal aid areas. You can see that 26% of our paved federal aid network is in good condition, 41% fair, and 33% poor. I mentioned earlier the pavement condition forecast. As you can see, as we look at the out years up until 2035, I believe it is, we see and continue to have a deterioration in our road network and pavement condition forecast. Again, our forecast in the past has proved to be accurate in what we're seeing in our pavement condition and trends throughout the state. Non-federal aid, these are roads that primarily are your local roads within about 165,000 miles, lane miles across the state, both in paved and gravel. So these are typically the local road miles that take you home. You can see that there are additional roads in this particular area that are in poor condition. One of the other things that we're working very hard as a council is to really get all of our network condition data. Right now, it's very difficult to see, but there is a small map of Michigan there. Those are the agencies that collected in 2023. We really do not have a statewide comprehensive non-federal aid road network data condition, both on the gravel as well as hard surface. So that is something we're going to continue to work on in 2024 and 2025. Some of those additional dollars will go towards that effort as well. Bridge conditions, again, talked about that. I think it's important to note those that are in severe condition. Those bridges that are in severe condition are in a warning stage, as I would put it, for potentially moving towards closure. This lens is statewide, so regardless of ownership and jurisdiction, it gives you a snapshot of our bridge conditions throughout the state. Again, looking at trends, and you can see bridges continue to decline in terms of condition rating, about 4.3%. One of the other things that was added in 2018 was transportation asset management plans for road owning agencies that have 100 or more federally aid certified miles. There are about 127 agencies across the state that meet that. That includes all 83 counties and some cities. And this is just a look at one of the things that we've been working on is to really help and focus, as the legislature approved, is to have compliance or transportation asset management plans for those 127 agencies. You can see that about 71% of those have been submitted. October 1 of this year, all agencies are required to submit a compliant plan. And then October 1 of 2025, we're continuously looking at have they made progress in the goals that they've set up, their performance metrics on the network. The real goal here is that the asset management plans aren't just a plan that's put on the shelf, but really utilized as a tool of public engagement, as well as performing and deciding what the right fix is at the right time for each agency's network across the state. Finally, I just wanted to mention that we are in the news. There are data, there's additional articles that have been printed using our data. I found one as recently as last week. So I want to commend the state and for all of the years since 2002 that we've been working with all 617 agencies in collecting this data at minimum on the federal aid, where we talk the same talk. We know what we're talking about in terms of pavement surface conditions and that rating of 10-to-1. Our information and data, our dashboards on our website are being utilized to help inform the public on the condition of our network and really the additional revenue that's needed to sustain it. Finally, I just wanted to mention we are having our first ever integrated asset management conference August 13th and 14th at Grand Valley. I want to thank the director for being part of that. He will be presenting, as well as William Hamilton from the House Fiscal Agency and anyone who's attending that. Highly recommend it. It is the first conference where we're really bringing together all asset owners, the Michigan Infrastructure Council, the Water Asset Management Council, and the Transportation Asset Management Council as well. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joanna. Other questions of Joanna or the Transportation Asset Management Council in general? Suzanne?
Hey, Joanne. Is there a goal for federal aid, right now it's 67% good and fair. Is there a goal, like 70% good and fair, where it's recommended to stay? Or, for example, I know in Grand Rapids we had done multiple modeling of the amount of resources available, what the delta would be with the gap of what was available and what was needed to get to that goal, if you had a goal of percent good and fair. And I didn't know if there was a recommended one that the council had both for federal aid and non-federal aid roads.
So to answer that, the council itself does not make a recommendation of that performance metric throughout the state. I know that the Michigan Department of Transportation, as well as the regional agencies, do take a look at that from the federal level, but each agency across the state is setting that expectation as approved by their governing body.
So is it possible to get an assessment of kind of what they are, what their goals would be? Is there an inventory of like what they have set as that percentage?
So there, at present, if I'm understanding the question, is, for instance, the Road Commission of Kalamazoo County, if there was a database, if you will, that shows we're looking at 90% of our network to be good or fair, is there any type of template of that across the state? Right now there isn't. They're having to report that to the Transportation Asset Management Council, but there's not saying a database that says Kalamazoo is looking at this or Grand Rapids is looking at this performance metric. It's not that fine-tuned as of yet. But we will be looking come 2025 is if an agency has set their goal to be their performance metric to be 90% good or fair, have they maintained that? And we did do a study of that to see how well are the agencies working towards meeting their goals.
And then just a follow-up on the projections that you made, slide 14, the financial resources that are available for that, and then the percent good and fair. It certainly appears that once it goes into pour, and once it goes into pour, it needs reconstruction usually. So that number's increasing. And so as you were looking at that, did you determine what the delta is, or the numbers that you based it off of for the financial resources to do the maintenance? Where did those come from, and how did you determine the projection?
So is the question relative to what criteria do we use for the forecasting long-term in terms of determining, because we looked at inflation as some of the criteria that we looked at. Obviously the buying power is changing, the revenue, the projected deterioration curve of the pavement conditions are all looked at in terms of the forecasting tool.
Okay, and then on the revenue side?
Equally, yes. So we're
Okay.
also looking at that long term. Most agencies have 5-year plans. We are certainly within the Transportation Improvement Plan. You're looking at 3 years. All of the data sets in terms of projects that have already been earmarked also were included in that. So that includes also the revenue side.
And then is there a number where it's in the reports and other things about what that gap is, but even if we were to maintain the current system as is with that percent good and fair, is there a number saying, in 5 years, we're going to be at this percent good and fair, and this is the lack of resources?
I will double check. We do have a page in our annual report that shows some of the investment that's there and the investment that's needed, but I don't have that right here in front of me, but I can certainly get that for you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Joanna. Okay, thank you, Director. Good luck on that call. Okay, okay. The next item on our agenda talks about the NewLab tour, but we'll put that off for a little bit here and go into the public comments. We have two requests that we received ahead of time. First is, and we ask obviously that people be respectful of time, and the first one on our list is Douglas Kirk.
Thank you. I wish I had a PowerPoint presentation to give you also, but I don't. I'm here to talk about your complete streets policy, which, to listen to you folks talking here today, is an important thing. It is, of course, state law, and it has MDOT policy behind it.
Mr. Kirk, if you could kind of move yourself over more towards that microphone.
Okay. I for sure want you to hear me. If you don't hear me, let me know. I want to talk to you about what happens in the real world with your with your complete streets policy. In particular, US 131 south of Kalamazoo. It's a unlimited access 4-lane highway with about 10 county roads that cross it between Schoolcraft and Three Rivers. This began to get rebuilt last year. And as part of the rebuild, they put in J-turns, Michigan left turns. I'm sure you're all familiar with them. Whereas previously, they were simply level crossings where the county roads would come to the corner, stop sign, pull across to the median, yield the right of way if you have to, and continue on. So I was quite surprised when I was riding my bicycle out that way last September to discover that they had taken out these crossings. Now, I got no problem with the J-turns, but using your bicycle, your assistive device, your horse and buggy, there are Amish people around there, to get across these intersections is now essentially impossible. I have some pictures I'll send around for you to look at. There's guardrails in the way. There's the median in the way. Before, it was no problem. Now, it's essentially impossible. You have to climb over a guardrail to get across the road. Well, as soon as I saw this, I called up the people at the Southwest Michigan MDOT office. And I got told, gee, sorry, we have no plans to do anything about that. So between myself and the members of the Kalamazoo Bicycle Club, we communicated multiple times over the course of the winter with people at MDOT, at local transportation committee meetings, and we were completely stonewalled. So in April of this year, I drafted a legal complaint saying that I would sue MDOT in circuit court for a writ of mandamus, asking a court to order these to be put back in pursuant to state law. Well, that got me a meeting. Up until then, we got nothing. At that meeting, I got told, we'll restore one of them. And here's a picture of the one they've restored, but there's 9 more. This is over a 10-mile section, and all they had to do was leave what was there in place and add the J-turns. Instead, they took out what was there and made it exceedingly unsafe, dangerous, or impassable, depending on what non-motorized device you want to use. So I thought that if I filed a complaint, someone at the Attorney General's office might say, gee, MDOT, you have violated the Complete Streets law and your own policy. What have you got in mind to fix this? Well, I'll tell you what they've got in mind would fix it. Nothing. Other than fixing that one intersection, they're doing everything they can do to fight that lawsuit. Now, I ask you, as this commission here, do you not want MDOT to follow the law and the Complete Streets policy that the people of the state of Michigan have enacted? you've got a problem here, it seems to me, with what you folks are saying and what's going on out in the real world. And I'm here today to ask that you help fix this problem, please. If you got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk. We do understand that there are legal matters in play, and so we really don't have a comment, but we appreciate your input. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Next, so do we have this one too?
You can ask if he's here, but he
Yeah.
didn't provide written, so you can say that.
Okay, so we had some public comments submitted by Will Calkins. Is Will here? What would you like to address the commission? Yeah.
Today, I drove 104 miles to get here over the course of an hour and 57 minutes. I was stuck in traffic for 19 of those minutes, passing by 5 construction sites. This is not an uncommon occurrence for most Michiganders, and is something they go through most days. This is why I'd like to propose a intercity passenger railway running along Interstate 96. Now, I-96 runs through Detroit, Lansing, Grand Rapids, and Muskegon, the population of that area being about 5.8 million people. That is over half the state's population. Now, currently, the rail system we have in place in the state do not connect these city areas. People in the state of Michigan rely heavily on private means of transportation like a car, which costs them on average a year of $12,000, which is 12% higher than the national average. Success has been seen across the nation, specifically in the San Joaquin Valley of the San Joaquin Railway. Currently, it connects the Bay Area of San Francisco to Central California in Bakersfield, with a population of the area being about 9 million people. Last year alone, they saw 850,000 passengers, which was a 19.3% increase from the years previous. The funding of this railway was heavily incorporated by the state of California along with federal income. The federal government last year alone allocated $3.1 billion to enhance and improve the railway along the Central Valley. Now, the railway cost is a rough estimate I've been able to obtain from Compass International, which is a construction cost publication service, of $450 million. Now, that's a lot of money to take into consideration, but earlier of last month alone, the federal government awarded $153 million to new intercity railways as a part of the Restoration and Enhancement Act. And last year of December, they allocated $8.2 billion to 10 current intercity railways. I believe that this railway would allow for the people of the 3 biggest urban areas of this state to be connected. And as they are important to both business and tourism of the state, it allows them to be connected and get to one another city. It'd be amazing to go to the beaches of Michigan to a business conference in Detroit in the matter of 2 hours. It's a possibility that cities have been looking at across the nation, and I think it's a possibility in ours. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Calkins, and appreciate your driving here. And I went through that same snag, I think. It cost me about 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
appreciate your thoughts. It's a matter of funds and so on, as you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have other ones?
Mr. Chair, I have Mr. Jack Hoffman, who would like to speak to the commission about the 5-year plan. And he's also provided written public comment at each of your spots.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr.
Good morning. My purpose here today is to address the draft 25-29 5-year transportation plan for state trunkline roads. I timed my presentation for 3 minutes. It doesn't look like you're using the buzzer today, but if it does go off, I'm close to the end.
My vice chair has got a buzzer going right here.
Yeah. Don't get the hook, though, okay? On page 38, the report states that an additional $3 billion a year in funding is necessary just to keep the state road trunkline system in its current state of repair. This does not include the 90% of state roads which are county and local. I believe the report should also disclose the following 6 points. 1, statistically, all of this pavement damage is caused by heavy commercial trucks. 2, currently heavy commercial trucks pay only $600 million a year in state fuel and registration taxes. 3, the Transportation Commission, as an independent constitutional commission acting under Act 484, has the power to establish and enforce a policy of charging a regulatory fee based on weight and mileage to operators for the privilege of operating heavy commercial vehicles on the state's transportation system. 4, a charge of 50 cents per mile on an 80,000-pound truck would raise $3 billion per year. 5, in fact, commercial trucks already pay a road tax based on miles driven on Michigan highways. It's called a fuel tax, but in reality, fuel consumption is estimated by dividing the reported truck mileage, which is measured, by average miles per gallon. See the explanation by William Hamilton of the House Fiscal Agency. 6, a political solution is not possible. I'm a loyal Democrat. I'm proud of it. The Democrats achieved a unified state government on January 1, 2022. Nothing has been done on transportation funding since. If it can't politically be done with unified state government, a democratic unified state government, it certainly can't be done in our present political situation. I believe the governor and the legislature would thank you for solving this politically unsolvable problem. When our children or grandchildren in the future ask us, Grandma, Grandpa, what did you do in the great transportation funding crisis of the 2020s, none of us will want to have to say, well, we didn't want to offend anyone, so we passed the problem on to future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Appreciate your comments. You were 3 minutes right on the dot. Appreciate that. Okay, are there any other folks from the public interested in addressing the commission? If not, the commission members who are able to stay and the commission staff, we will be doing a tour of the facility. I would say that Troy tells me that, reminds me that the public is have the availability of tours on Fridays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 to 5. And you can apply to take one of those tours on their website. So feel free, any of the public that would like to do that tomorrow or Saturday, I guess. With that, is there any other business to come before the commission? I see none.